Tonight, a waterfront picket line pulls out at Port Chalmers. The story of Otago's rags to riches cricket season. And a barrier that's been broken in a Queenstown nightclub. Good evening. Port Chalmers waterfront workers haven't returned to work, even though the Seamen's Union picket's been called off. The 5-day picket, which stopped them working the container ship Tui, ended at midday, when seamen on the Tui left their fate with the Labour Court. Sally Pears reports.
4 days after berthing at Port Chalmers, the reflagged Tui still remains idle. Although the picketers have left the wharf, waterfront workers won't return to work until tomorrow afternoon at the earliest. It's thought they want assurances they'll be paid for the days they turned up to work, but were turned away by the picket. Early this morning, that picket was still in place, seamen making sure no work could be done on the Tui. At midday, however, the seamen left peacefully after an injunction was served on behalf of the Otago Harbour Board declaring the picket illegal. Union representative Terry Stewart spoke to the picketers alongside the ship, saying their grievance was with the shipping corporation, not with the Harbour Board.
There are no real winners, and it just indicates to us the crazy actions of the shipping corporation in taking these provocative actions at a time when we were in pragmatic and constructive negotiations. The corporation apparently had regard to their finances and potential sale.
The cost of the dispute to the ship's owners has been high. Each day the Tui sits idle, Foodday Limited lose an estimated $17,000. And the Otago Harbour Board has had to divert another container ship while the Tui stays in port unattended. Within the next few weeks, the Labour Court will make a decision as to the fate of the Tui, and Seamen's Union representative Terry Stewart is confident it will be in their favour. Ultimately, he wants the seamen to regain their jobs on the ship, which since the reflagging has been crewed by Spanish seamen.
And though most harbour workers won't start work before tomorrow afternoon at the earliest, they'll let the cruise ship Europa berth in the morning. In spite of attempts at FOVO Strait records yesterday and today, most southern swimmers restrict their efforts at this time of year to swimming pools. Invercargill already has 2 swimming complexes, yet some people aren't satisfied with either. Gaynor Smith looks at why they want a brand new aquatic centre instead.
This reserve land, Otago Park, is the place the steering committee of Southland's Aquatic Centre wants to put a 50-metre pool, plus the extras that go with today's water sports. It'd replace Invercargill's 2 swimming centres, Queen's Park and the elderly Central Pools, built in 1927. Central Pools aren't used enough, and together the complexes lose $470,000 a year, prompting doubts maybe about spending $5 to $6 million on starting again. But for this complex, enthusiasts predict an operating surplus of $126,000. With top-notch facilities for water polo, underwater hockey and competitive swimming.
But most important, it will mean that the public get a much better chance at using the water space than they have at present, with both pools heavily patronised by schools and special interest users.
What's envisaged is leisure space, a cafe, a teaching pool and a hot spa pool. And on the main 50-metre pool, a bulkhead that can be moved up and down.
One end you could have competitive swimming, and at the other end you could have it wide open for public usage.
The Queen's Park complex is popular and the water slide helps, but the small pool gets too much people pressure.
The pool we stand in front of is a relatively new pool, but it's only just a 25-metre pool.
The proposal will go to the council formally in 2 or 3 months. Meanwhile, the proposers want public feedback. Not surprisingly, current pool customers seem keen.
I think it will be wonderful. Everybody's keen on getting fitter nowadays.
Fitness, training, it'll be great. And I think we'll manage the money.
In recent years, northern critics have been quick to write off Otago's chances of winning the Shell Cricket Trophy. They obviously don't do their homework, as Otago has built an enviable record of success. It's the same again now, with Otago going into tomorrow's final round against Auckland at Carisbrook with a chance of retaining its title. As Ken Nicholson tells us, it marks the end of a rags to riches season.
Otago lies second in the competition behind Northern Districts, but at the start of the season there was some reason to suggest this wouldn't be Otago's year. The main reason was the retirement of the team's captain and mentor Warren Lees. His influence on past teams could have been likened to that of some of those Indian whiz kids with millions of spiritual followers. But under this man, Otago cricket has learnt that there is life after Lees. A dreadful start to the season saw sceptics say, "I told you so," but Kevin Burns, Lees' likeable Southland successor, has led this side through hard times to the present situation.
It's been a good team effort, and I've had a lot of help from the more experienced players in the team, and they've helped me along the way, and it's been a real team effort, and I'm quite happy to take any information from any other player, and everyone sort of helped me out along the way.
Well, going into tomorrow's game, obviously both teams will have to take a positive attitude to go for an outright. What are your thoughts?
Well, we've played pretty positive all season when we had a chance, and we won't be changing our attitude towards the game, and the team that bowls and bats the best on the wicket out here, well, they'll win it.
The late addition of spinner Stephen Box certainly helped the cause as Otago rolled Central Districts at Alexandra. The pace attack has been led by professional Neil Melander. In all, it's been a team effort throughout. But youngsters like Peter Dobbs in his first year have also added to the cause.
Well, he's had a very good summer so far for a fella who, his first season for Otago, and he's got the 30 most innings, and now he's starting to carry on and getting big scores, which is good, and looks good for the future of Otago.
So, no matter what happens in the next 3 days, Otago has reason to be proud of its efforts to date. Yet another answer to those northerners who write our boys off every season.
Student jobs were hard to find this summer, but a marketing graduate has managed to land an unusual one in Queenstown. Rachel Alexander's broken new ground for women in the southern job market by working as a bouncer at a nightclub. Alan Brady looks at what's expected of a female bouncer.
What are you doing with no shoes on, sunshine? Come on, get him on, eh? Come on, there's this scruffy and we don't allow riff-raff in here, all right? You got the picture? Right, just been told.
Unless you're a cricket fan, this is probably what you think of as a bouncer. Something large, menacing, male and muscled.
So it's a really flexible system.
And that's certainly not a description which fits Rachel Alexander. She has her own hang glider, goes skydiving, enjoys tennis and has done some self-defence training. But she's certainly not intimidating, which is just as well, because during the day this commerce graduate from Christchurch sells timeshare units at the Lofts in Queenstown. After dark, though, Rachel Alexander has a rather more unusual job.
I think door person probably best fits it, but I quite like being called bouncer because basically I greet people as they come in the door, I check their dress standard, I check that they haven't had too much to drink, and I make them welcome. It depends what you call bouncing. The traditional sense of the word, people assume that it's people throwing people downstairs, causing fights, standing there looking tough. But in actual fact, what a bouncer does is exactly what I do. I just do it in a slightly different way. But when you think about it, traditionally males have been the perhaps more violent, aggressive types, and women have been more supportive and able to work through things and break through communication barriers. Traditionally, that's a big stereotype, so that male bouncers perhaps react more aggressively than a female bouncer might to a marginal situation. I think a male bouncer, if they change their tactics, could do the same job equally as well.
When the idea was first thought of and we were put into practice, we did have a lot of criticisms from around town. People saying that it would be the laughing stock in Queenstown, that it won't work, that you'd better look after Rachel, and that you better be ready should anything happen. And I'm glad to say that to date, none of that's happened.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm fine.
So I can't actually let you in. We've got a dress code here. The shorts are borderline, but
oh,
you can just put a
no.
shirt and some shoes on.
I've just been for a barbie up the road by the river. 2 girls ran off with my clothes.
It sounds like
They're
fun.
dead honest. Can't I just come in for a quick one?
No, look, sorry mate, we can't leave bottles in either. If you want to come back, then we'll have to draw the line somewhere. But if you want to come back, put a shirt on, some shoes, you're most welcome to come in.
Well, look, looks good. Why don't you go home and get changed? Go on.
Okay.
Changed. I think it's pretty much a stereotype wrong, but I definitely think there are a lot of places that might start thinking of making changes soon. I doubt it'll catch on within the immediate future.
Doing a fine job. And congratulations to Invercargill's Todd Utteridge, who's just broken the Fovo Strait swim record by 19 seconds. Todd's 8-hour, 40-minute stint is our temperature backdrop tonight. Temperature's pretty good right around the province. Sunny in Half Moon Bay, 16. Fine in Invercargill, a high tomorrow of 18. Beautiful in Gore with 25, Balthufa sunny and 20. Dunedin 17 today and a high of 18 tomorrow. Palmerston sunny and 19 and Oamaru 18. Ranfurly 23, Lumsden 21, Queenstown 21, Wanaka 25, the high of 28 in Alexandra, Te Anau sunny and 22.